Welcome everybody to Tier List Tuesday. Of course, members get this on a Monday, but for everyone else, it is Tier List Tuesday. Okay, this one is a bit more simple in its efforts. It's a tier list on expansion teams. Where in Europe and slightly outside of Europe could we see EFA/AFLE expansion teams? I'm going to put a limit to could we see this in 2030? Right, it's 2026 at the point of this recording, early 2026. Is it theoretically possible to have these cities have a good American football team, or even an American football team that represented in the big leagues by 2030? Right, it sounds complicated, but it's really not. We're going to go through the tiers. We got must have. This is going to be maybe just the one or two teams that are absolutely, we got to have them. Could be convinced. There's definitely some elements and some convincing points, but maybe just need a little bit more. Maybe. Not looking likely, so probably not. Not happening. And then we've already tried this, which, of course, speaks for itself. We've got a collection. Make sure to like the video. These tier list videos have done really, really well, so I'm really, really happy with how they've come out. So go and hype the video and like the video. When I get to 15, 20 likes is usually how many these get, so I'd like to hit that number. If you're from one of these, or you have any other cities you think should be mentioned, let me know. I've loved the comment section recently. It's kind of been picking up a little bit, so let me know. Right, enough rambling. Let's start getting a few out of the way that we don't need to really talk about. My wonderful partner is from Baku, in case you didn't know. There's a bit of Matt Bressington lore. I mentioned it quite a lot, but she's from Baku. I don't think Azerbaijan has an American Football League. Maybe it does, maybe I'm being ignorant. But as far as I'm aware, through my research, there is not an American Football League in Azerbaijan. If you're from Azerbaijan watching this somehow, and you know of an American Football League, please let me know. I would love to watch that. Someone who is trying to learn more about the country, please. This is a call. I'm going to make this into a short. This is a call for help. Please, anyone who is aware of Azerbaijani American football, message me immediately. In the same breath, we've got Tbilisi from Georgia. It's actually more likely than Baku. What I didn't know is Georgia has an American football team. They're going to be playing the Great Britain team very, very, I don't know the exact date, but soon. They're playing the Great Britain team, which is very interesting. Of course, a country very famous for wrestling athletes and grappling athletes, including some MMA champs as well. Probably not going to happen in terms of American football, but still could be interesting. But I don't see this happening by 2030. Is he going to have exactly the same? I really don't see it happening at all in the next couple of years by 2030. But it would be a fun team. It would be. It's good to explore these different cities and see an eye into more of these cultures. I think the last one I'll put here is probably Athens. But I'll probably put it over here. The thing with Athens, and the thing that sticks with me, Americans know Athens. So if there was a rich enough owner that came in and just went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop a few milli on an Athens team, market the hell out of it, and I'm going to go win the EFA or the AFLE. Would it be possible? Probably not. Is it going to happen? I would bet no. But if there was going to be a team out of these four, and my money would be on Athens, just because Greece is just such a historic place and is a very good destination. If you tell an American, oh, I want you to go be the star quarterback of a team in Athens, they're going to be like, yeah, all right, I'll go do that for 6 months. That sounds pretty good. So, not likely, but would be still fun. I want to talk about Dresden. Now, Dresden is one I'm very passionate about because I think Dresden could be a really good team. I'm going to put it in could be convinced because there's still some things. But here, let me break it down for you. Dresden's fan base is incredible. They have routinely 15, 20, 25,000 people at their games, which is incredible numbers. They're a competitive team in the GFL. They have a ton of history. They have great branding, their jerseys, their outfits, they look, they're professional, they're clean. I know if you don't think that matters, but it does matter. They're well organized. The East German area in which they operate is relatively untouched by the big leagues. You've got Berlin, which is a little bit north. You've got Munich, which is a little bit southwesterly. Leipzig is probably the closest. Well, it is the closest. But Dresden and Leipzig, they're very similar in terms of the geographical location. So you could kind of put either one of these. However, Dresden is the team with the Monarchs, which I think could be an incredible team. The thing you'd be running into is maybe branding problems with London, maybe. But I think the Dresden Monarchs would be a really nice addition to an EFA team or an AFLE team or whatever we get in the future by 2030. I think this would be one of my favorites, actually. If you're going to add a German team that isn't Stuttgart from the GFL, maybe you go Potsdam. But personally, I would go for Dresden. I think the Dresden have a good homegrown unit. They've got the whole area which they operate to recruit from. There are still the convincing factors of could you field a team without the GFL rules, because GFL rules are very loose, let's say loose, when it comes to how players are allocated as Europeans, how they're allocated as Americans, blah, blah, blah. So, would be difficult, but I would still think it'd be a very fun one to have. I'd like to see it. I think it'd be good. Rome. Imagine you can put Rome and Milan in the same place. We are going to get a team in Italy, probably in both leagues, in AFLE and also in EFA. By 2030, I really hope they're merged by that year. But I'm going to say that Milan is a must-have. We've already had a Milan team, so you could put it in here. It was very clearly not the best rendition of a Milan team we could have had. There are some incredibly talented players from Italy, some of the most talented players from Italy, yet they've not been represented with a club that could actually support them. You've got a great domestic league as well. But I'm going to put Rome in could be convinced. There's a bigger pool of players in Milan comparatively to Rome. Like, in Milan, you've got the Frogs. Of course, you've got the old team, which cannot be named for reasons of lifting eyebrows when you say their name. Rome has got less of those teams in the surrounding areas. So I do think that Milan is a must-have, and I do think that Rome could be convinced. We're going to get one of them. We might get both. I kind of hope if, in an ideal world where we play this season, the AFLE and the EFA, we're probably not going to get a merger as of my knowledge this year. If we get a merger next year, EFA have already said they want to have a team in Italy. We don't know where it's going to be officially. AFLE have said the same thing. Again, we don't know where they want to have it particularly. So if one of them picks Italy in Milan and one of them picks it in Rome, could be a good little rivalry. If you don't know about Italian history, Italian culture, boy, do they love a historic rivalry between cities, especially between two of the biggest cities in the country. So, could be fun, but could Italy support two teams? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Milan would be the first I'd have in a must-have. Rome, I'd still need a little bit more convincing with the actual foundations of a team. Barcelona I know you could argue it's the same in Milan, but, and this one's a difficult one, and let me know in the comments if you agree. I think do I agree with them myself here? I'm thinking, who has the most talent? And this is a question to the fans. Who has the most talent between Italy and Spain? I know you might think, oh, well, it's definitely Spain. You got Madrid Bravos, like they're really good. But like Milan is good too. If you go back and forth, I probably would favour Spain. But they already have the Bravos. The Bravos aren't going anywhere. So could you supplement a second team? We've already had them playing at the same time. It really didn't work. But here's the thing. Barcelona, I don't want to rule out for 2030 because Spain is producing some guys. You've got Pablo Araya. You've got Diego Paz. You've got Alessandro Fernandez. Who are these young players? You've got Dani Ducal, who's a great coach from Spain, who's going to be with the Bravos this year. Spanish, Spencer Tony, NFL Academy, good friend of mine. He's an excellent Spanish-produced coach. Their domestic league is good. It's a fun, good, productive league that's made a ton of really, really talented players. Spain is definitely on the up. So I'm putting the Barcelona Dragons as a maybe. Nostalgia is a hell of a thing. There's a lot of nostalgia for the Barcelona Dragons. Just ask Jordan from Four Town Fiasco. There is a lot of nostalgia. So if you have the right person come in, and I'm not talking anyone from the old board of Barcelona, because clearly that didn't work. But if you get someone with enough financials and enough fandom, maybe in Spain or in America, that says, I grew up watching the Barcelona Dragons, I want to see them back, it could be fun. And again, this would be something that I would think would happen towards the tail end of the 20s, maybe the early end of the 30s, if we still have this current situation with the leagues by then. But I would put it as maybe, I know I've shit on all of the Dragons a couple of years ago, but hey man, it'll be fun. I'd like to see it. I was a fan of them in the first couple of seasons. I think if you're a fan of American football, that OG early 20s Barcelona team with Magic, with Sweet, Remy Bertolon and Alessandro Iceman Fernandez is just one of the best teams that we've ever seen in Europe in terms of having fun. Like, it's a fun-ass team. So I'm going to put it as maybe. Maybe I'm a bit nostalgic myself. Right. Amsterdam. Or maybe we'll kind of combine it to Benelux, because we're not going to get a Brussels team, we're not going to get Luxembourg teams individually, but the Benelux region would be an absolute must-have, and I'm actually going to put it above Milan. That's how much I want this Amsterdam team. You think about it like this. You've got great players. They're Dutch. Rodon Enrique. You got Thyron Sell, who's at the NFL Academy, who's a great exceptional athlete that I think if he doesn't go D1, I think he might actually be going to college, but when he comes back from college, great player. We're talking about the tail end of the 20s here, maybe even earlier, would be great. You've got fantastic Belgian players that I think it's Van der Koft. I think that's Van der Koft. The Raiders defensive tackle. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but he's an excellent defensive tackle. So you get some good homegrown players like that. You got some offensive linemen and maybe reinforce with some ease. Isaiah Kleinberg is Dutch. Like, that's a very good player that could definitely perform at this level. Of course, he just signed to Prague. The foundations for a Dutch team are there with the Crusaders. You add in that Belgian talent. Man, this team could be good. Real good. I'd love to see it. This is by far the most requested I get from myself. Like, people mess me the most about this. Amsterdam is all the first they mention. Will we get an Amsterdam team in the 2020s? God, I hope so. Like, I really, really hope so, because I think it'll be fantastic. Whether or not it's the Crusaders, they've revived that old brand, or if it's a new rendition, not sure, don't care. Just give me players in orange repping the Netherlands and the Benelux region. Because, I think that team would be really good. Imagine a perfect world where you get a Benelux team facing off against a Paris team like the Musketeers. Like, that rivalry would be super fun. You got potentially, if they're playing against a Fire, that rivalry is really fun. Even with like a London team, it'd be incredible. Like, it's my number one. It's not even close. Dublin. It's weird because I never thought of Dublin as being a place where people would want a team in Ireland. And then American TJ, a good friend of mine, puts a post up about London expansion. And you got people talking about Dublin. And they're like, oh, we really want an Irish team. Like, Irish team. I don't think it's looking likely. I know a couple of Irish players. Of course, Tom Yewo and AK, who was a former UE player. Akeem is just a fantastic player, actually. I'm surprised he's not got more GFL love. But the homegrown base isn't exactly there in Ireland. Of course, if you're going with some more lax rules, you could definitely get a few Americans. A lot of Americans would be easier to get over there if you're talking about like visas and whatnot, due to them, a lot of Americans having potential Irish passports. You could get some ease, of course. You could take some maybe from the UK or some from Europe. It's a great place to live. I've never been to Ireland, but of course, it's a very, very famous city with a lot of culture. I don't think it's looking particularly likely that we get an Irish team, but like, the more I think about it, the more like I'd like to see it, but I just don't know if it has the infrastructure. But overall, Ireland, I'm not so sure we'll get it personally, but I'd like to. It'll be a very fun, interesting team, but I just don't see it being very likely. Edinburgh. Now you could put Edinburgh, you could put Glasgow, whatever one you would really want to put for a Scottish team. It would probably go between both of them if you're thinking like Scottish Claymores. It would have to be... See, this is where I'm going to put it, could be convinced. because it would have to be British players. You couldn't just do Scottish. There's some great Scottish players, of course, Matthew Dougherty, you got Daniel Kane, you got Stephen McCluskey. Very good, talented Scottish players. However, you couldn't just build it off of Scottish. You'd have to include some English, maybe some Welsh, probably just English, Northern, maybe that Manchester area, Newcastle area, kind of region of England, and try and get them up to Edinburgh/Glasgow. It would definitely get some fans, I think, maybe. It would definitely have the attention. A lot of people to call for the Claymores. Like, it's kind of vague. Like, you got that. By the way, if you're looking at the Indoor Arena League, don't fucking go to that shit. That shit looks terrible. Not going to represent Scotland at all. But there is the potential. If we got like a London team and then you have a Scottish team, I think that'd be really fun. But the infrastructure, the money, it would be a difficult sell, I think, for some people. But I would like to see it. I think it'd be really interesting. Helsinki. Now, Vienna Vikings employ a lot of Finns. We've seen a lot of Finns in the ELF. Helsinki, I talked to actually some Finns at the championship game who were fans of the ELF and fans of ELF Live. So if you're watching this, I appreciate the time we talked. They weren't exactly convinced that Helsinki could house an ELF team. They were like, we don't have the depth. I'm going to put it as a maybe, because of course the Finns have exceptional players. We've seen a ton of them, especially on the offensive lines. We've had Kari, who's been incredible. We've had some really good DBs like Lalo come through Helsinki. Well, Finland, not just Helsinki. They have a good league with the Maple League. I did the video last time. People thought I was too low in the Maple League. They thought it should be around the AFL and GFL range, which personally I'm not so sure. But it is a great league. Are the fans going to turn up for this? Is the thing. Like, you've got the Helsinki Roosters, who are already a good team. Say Helsinki Roosters just bumped themselves up to be an EFA or AFLE team. They're not drawing in crazy numbers as it is. I don't have any statistics for it, but, you know, they're not saying out 10,000 like Dresden or like Rome maybe would. Or like Barcelona had their really core fan base. It would be hard to get fans involved. The players are there. I think they've got enough depth to be a good team. It would be an incredibly strong home field advantage. Like, playing in Finland is not going to be easy for anyone. But it's just, are the fan base going to turn up? I'm going to put a maybe. I'd like it. I'd like to see all of them. Sofia next, I'm going to put here. Like, it's basically the same area. Europe, I probably should have put them around. I'll put it around here. Istanbul, we've already done this. I don't think Istanbul works as a team. You know, I'm going to kind of put it like this, technically, because we did already have an Istanbul team with the Rams and the ELF. They were okay. They got a big upset against the Dragons, of course. They had some famous players that played for them. T-Rob, of course, Attila. But, they're never going to be, an elite team, you know. Lisbon, Portugal. I think I'm also going to put it around Ireland. I think the domestic league is not incredibly strong. There aren't a ton of Portuguese players that could be exceptional. Here's what I'm thinking with Portugal. I know this sounds insane, but just let me cook here. If you had a Lisbon ELF team, AFA team, AFLE team, but you allowed Brazilian homegrowns. Now, tell me that would not be fun. If you deny me that, if you say that, nah, I don't want to see a Portuguese team with Brazilians because it's just too far away. Sure. But you cannot deny that would be a fun team. Poly Sacramento, Gabriel Montagna. There's a ton of other talented Brazilians on the offensive line. Octavio Morim. Andrade played for the Milan team, and then the fucking, what's his name? The really long athletic tackle that was going to play for Prague but didn't end up playing for Prague because he got hurt. There would be, oh my god, the more I think about it, see, I actually hadn't planned for it. The thing is, I was going to put Lisbon, and probably not happening or not looking likely, but then I thought of the Brazilian homegrown rule, and I think that'd be really fun. Like, I'd actually really like to see it. I don't think we will. But like, can you imagine? That'd be so sick. You know what? Fuck it. I'm putting it in maybe. Lisbon with only Portuguese would be like here. Lisbon with Brazilians as homegrowns be expensive, but it'll be that'd be so fun. I kind of want it now. I know Ricardo might be interested in that, but that'd be so fun. I'd love that. The more I think about it, the more excited I'm getting for that. Jeez, can you imagine a Lisbon team with Brazilians as homegrowns? That'd be dangerous. All right, finally, London. We do have to have it. It's been announced for 2027 by the EFA. The AFL League claim, maybe. They haven't officially said it'll be 2026 for the London team. They haven't said it won't be 2026 for the London team. We don't really know. And again, I'm not going to lie. If I wasn't contacted by a team to build a London team, I would be just infuriated. So, I guess we don't know. If I haven't been contacted, I don't know. But I've heard rumours. I would obviously, it's got to happen, right? It's the biggest city in Europe that probably doesn't have an ELF team or AFLE team or EFA team, or has never had one. It would be an exceptional. Got amazing players, got amazing fan base, amazing infrastructure, amazing culture for American football. The pro, the league in the UK is not pro, but it's good. You've got the the University League, which is really individual to the UK, where it's actually arguably better quality in some places than the adult league. But there we go. I'm happy with this. I think this is a very strong lineup. Of course, we got the ones that aren't going to happen: Athens, Sofia, Tbilisi, Zagreb, and Baku. Realistically, we already tried Istanbul. Dublin's probably not looking likely. Maybe Barcelona, Helsinki, and Lisbon / Brazil could be convinced, which is Dresden, Rome, and Edinburgh / Glasgow. And a must-have is London, Amsterdam, and Milan. Let me know what you think. Let me know what cities you like most about these. Let me know if I missed any cities. Let me know if you feel different. Let me know about that Lisbon idea, especially Ricardo, because I had a feeling he had the strongest opinions on that. But geez, I'd love to see it. That being said, that wraps up Tier List Tuesday. I will see you guys next week. Go and watch the Saturn Centre. I'm really happy with how that's gone at the moment. Only done one episode, but I'm really happy with it. Thank you. See you next time. Goodbye.